Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. We are live from the Motilal Oswal studios. Let me kickstart taking the stock-related queries. Before that, let me actually introduce our guests for today. We have Sharmila Joshi, who will be helping you on the fundamental side, while on the technical side, we have Osho Krishnan joining us on the show. Very good morning to both of you, and I wanted to hurriedly actually get on to queries because we have a lot of them actually pending and coming in from our viewers. Let me start taking it from this one is coming in from Siddharth. Siddharth has actually 90 shares of Happiest Minds at the price of around 389 rupees per share. He wants to know what's the long-term outlook for this one. Should he go ahead and look to book out profits for this one? Sharmila, what's your take coming in on Happiest Minds? This one is an earnings candidate reacting to his earnings through the course of the week. What's your take? The viewer should go ahead and book profits in this one?
Really, I think that the valuations of the stock lead me to believe that he would do better to hold on. And yes, as you said, the stock has reacted to its earnings. But I think like looking at the kind of product pipeline they have going forward, I think this year will be a better year for them. So I would really recommend to hold.
All right, that's the take coming in as far as Happiest Minds then is concerned. I also wanted to ask about Tata Tech then. There's Megan who's writing to us from Mumbai. Osho wants to know about Tata Tech. Should she hold an average because she's bought shares at a buy price of 1,000 rupees then?
To all of you, when looking at the technical perspective of Tata Tech, then there has been a very drastic plunge in the stock prices for this counter. So it is not advisable to average this counter at present levels. But in future, if there will be any kind of pullback in this counter beyond the zone of 850, which will be above the short-term moving average, then that will be providing an opportunity to accumulate this counter on a staggered manner. But for now, overall, although on technical front, the parameters have been on the oversold territory, but one should not try to catch the falling knife and wait for certain consolidation or pullback to average out the counter.
Back to you, Sharmila. This one is coming in from Natrajan S, and he wants to know about Geo Financial, whether it's a good buy at current price to equity levels.
It's a good buy, I think, but you will have to be a little patient because all said and done, we've had this stock like really rally with the rest of the market, and now we are really waiting for the actual financials of the company to sort of justify buying it, because it was bought on a lot of hopes and expectations, and that these are the kind of businesses that they'll get into, etc. But now we really need to now that the stock has corrected and overall this space is in a bit of a the entire space I think is in a bit of a problem. So I think you need to sort of wait for earnings to justify buying further. So if you have it, I think you definitely hold it. If you don't, I think you wait for a bit to buy it.
That's a take coming in as far as Geo Financial Services is concerned. Osho, I'll come right back to you because we do have Parag writing to us about Delivery. Has bought 130 shares. Average price was about 437 rupees is what he's mentioned. He wants to know if he can average out from the current levels at this point.
See, again, the technical structure for Delivery is having a kind of a selling formation. So I would be saying that one should not being aggressive in averaging the counter at current levels. Wait for a certain consolidation or a pullback in this counter. On the technical front, I'm expecting that once it crosses the zone of 345, 350 on a decisive manner, then only it can boost some kind of positive sentiment in the market. So I'll be advising to hold for now, and if there will be any kind of surge beyond the zone of 345, then one can definitely try to accumulate this counter.
All right, let me move on then. Let me take this next query that I have coming in from Nikhil. He wants to know about Tata Power, 40 shares at a price of 448 rupees per share. He had booked loss earlier, but then he bought them again recently at the same quantity for the longer term. What's your take right now then, Sharmila? What should he do with Tata Power? Stay put with this one or look to exit now?
I actually like the stock, so I would recommend him to stay put. He's done a good strategy in a way. He sold at a higher price and he's re-entering at a lower price. See, the reason why I like the stock is that in the power space, if you look at the list of stocks that we have, among that list, I would say that Tata Power emerges to my mind, as one of the stocks which has like the best balance sheet. Additionally, I think the buzzwords that which we hear and which we are going to keep hearing going ahead is going to be things to do with green energy, renewable energy, getting into some EV based batteries or setting up infrastructure. And Tata Power is sort of getting ready to get into a lot of these. So, even going forward, it's a stock that I would continue to like. So again, I stress that you may need to be patient, but as I said, this is a stock that I like, so definitely hold.
Sharmila is bullish on Tata Power, but the next one that we have is coming in from Ghosh Dada, writing to us from Delhi. He's a regular viewer of the show and he's writing to us about Dixon Tech. Osho wants a combination view, so I'll come to you first. What do you think about this counter?
See, overall, there has been after a very long period, this counter have been into a corrective phase from the zone of nearly 19,000 towards 15,000 now. And although looking at the broader time frame, it is hovering above the 200, the simple moving average, and it's consolidating. So I am expecting that in the coming period, there is a possibility for this counter to have a pullback. But if he is having a position, then it's better to hold. If not, then better to accumulate this counter beyond the zone of 15,500 from short or medium term perspective.
All right, Sharmila, I'll come right back to you. Curious to know what you think about Dixon Tech as well.
Again, I think it sort of requires patience if you're looking at valuations. But given the kind of opportunity that we have, and with everything that is happening around the globe, I think it makes a lot of sense to be invested in stocks like this. So if you have it, I think you should definitely continue to hold.
That's the combination view coming in on Dixon Tech. On that note, we slip into a break on this edition of Buy Now Sell Now. When we come back, more stock queries to be answered. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're watching Buy Now Sell Now on ET Now. We are joining you live from our Motilal Oswal studio. Let's continue taking all of your stock related queries. We have Sharmila Joshi as well as Osho Krishan joining us, or who have joined us and are taking all of your stock related queries. This one is coming from Jay Krishnan. Wants to know about Trent for the medium term. 6,172 is his buy price. What should he do now? Sharmila, given the fact that Trent is all set to report his numbers today, what would be the key factors that one should watch out for, given the fact that the stock has also seen a correction from elevated levels? Our viewers also making loss on this one.
Yes, I think so. There is a positive and a negative. I think the negative is that Zudio, which is a model that I like, but that has not shown the kind of expansion that was expected. Having said that, it is something that I would continue to like. I mean, the entire West Side Zudio model that they have currently going for them. And I think that they are, in a sense, a beneficiary of the budget, in the sense that if you are sort of putting more spending, if you are giving more spending power to the middle class, then Zudio is typically the kind of model that should sort of benefit more. So I think that you just need to keep your patience here and continue to hold Trend.
All right, then patience is key when it comes to Trent, and that's the take coming in from Sharmila. Osho, I'll come right back to you because Tina's also writing to us about NHPC. 1,500 shares is what she's holding on to, and her buy price was 83 rupees. She's in fact asking if she should be switching to IDC or any other counter for that matter.
See, firstly, for NHPC, this counter has been into a very strong consolidation zone around the zone of nearly 75 on the downside and approximately 81 to 82 on the higher end. So overall, there has been a decent consolidation in this counter from a very decent period of time. So I'm expecting that in the coming period, there can be a trigger on the positive front, and this counter can see a decent movement on the higher end. So be patient with this counter and hold it for a short to medium term point of view. The next potential target that one can expect in this counter will be nearly 92, while 72 should be acting as a very strong support for this counter.
Yeah, the next one is coming from Anju. She's writing to us from UAE. Wants to know about IndusInd Bank. She's purchased about 205 shares of IndusInd Bank at the levels of around 1,413. She wants to know whether it's the right time to average. What's your take coming in on this one, Osho?
See, overall, there has been a decent movement in IndusInd Bank in the last couple of trading sessions, and also on the technical front, there has been a kind of a bottom formation for this counter. So definitely one can try to average out this counter at current levels, or approximately 1,040 to 1,050 is a very strong support for this counter. So even in future or in 1 to 2 trading session, if there will be any kind of dip towards the zone of 1,040, 1,050, that will be an apt level to accumulate this counter from a short to medium term point of time. And on the higher end, I am expecting that the next potential target that this counter has is near to 1,250 to 1,260 for a short-term perspective. So definitely a buy at current levels for targets of nearly 1,260 for a short-term perspective.
All right, and that's a buy recommendation on current levels coming in from for IndusInd Bank from Osho. But the next one, Sharmila, we have is a long-term investor, RK Ahuja, who's writing to us about three counters: Zaggle Prepaid Services, BEML, as well as Swiggy. He wants to know if he should be holding or selling all three of these counters, and the time frame that he's in fact looking at is 2 years. What do you think about these?
I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the one was Zaggle, the other one was.
The other ones are BEML as well as Swiggy.
Okay. So in that sense, we have yeah. So coming to Zaggle first, I think you continue to hold. Given the valuations the stock is at and their numbers, I do think that this is a stock that you can continue to hold. BML, I mean, we are talking of a PSU. We have seen a bit of a correction there. Once again, here, if you have the patience, because I think what has happened here is that stocks had run up sort of ahead of their valuations because that was the space everybody liked, and the order books are strong. It's just that typically these orders are very long gestation orders, and for the good, I mean, for the good results to sort of translate into their bottom line, it takes time. That said, as I said, the budget was favorable for these stocks. Again, I think that their order books are strong. So there is no real reason to exit the stock from a fundamental perspective. So I would recommend to hold. Swiggy, again, I think given the fact that, yes, I think their numbers were not that great and you are seeing some amount of pain, but they are trading at a significant discount to Zomato. So here, once again, I think if you're a long-term investor, you need to continue to hold.
All right, then that's a take coming in as far as Swiggy, BML, as well as the third counter that I mentioned are concerned. But the next one, Roshu, that we have is coming in from Ajit, who's writing to us about Hero MotoCorp, wants to know about his strategy then, because he's not mentioned the number of shares that he's purchased, but he bought them at 5,065 rupees. What do you make of this counter then?
See, overall, there has been a very strong correction in Hero Moto, and it has plunged approximately more than 50% of the movement that we have seen from the zone of November 2023. So from there onwards, if looking at the technical front, this counter have seen a very decent correction, and from current levels, it is expected to have a very strong pullback. So I would recommend to hold on to the position because in the past few trading sessions, there has been some kind of positive traction to this counter. And after a very long period, this has emerged above the short-term moving average. So one should definitely hold to this counter. On the higher end, the next potential target or next potential resistance is placed around the zone of 4,700 to 4,800. So one needs to review once it closes by the zone of 47 and 4,800 levels to see whether to hold for a further time perspective or to partially book profits at those levels.
All right, and there you go. Those are the levels that you should be keeping in mind when it comes to Hero MotoCorp. But time for a very quick breather on the show. When we come back, we'll take you through some more of your stock-related queries. So don't go anywhere.
Hi there, welcome back to Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. We'll continue taking all your stock-specific queries with our experts that are back with us on the show. Keep writing to us on the number that's going to be flashing on the top of your screen soon, viewers. But let's keep it going with all your queries. Sharmila, coming to you, we have our query coming in from a viewer, Reshma Bhatia. She is seeking a fundamental view on Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda. She's currently sitting at a 14% loss on both of these stocks, but she has made profits on both in the past. Which is why her question is, should she continue to hold for the long term, say 1 or 2 years? Would it be a good call to just sit on both of these stocks right now, Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda?
Absolutely, because as we were discussing, I think a little while earlier about a stock in the NBFC space. I think NBFC banking we have seen over this last 7-8 years has been a bit. It's had issues. Numbers have not been great. We haven't seen the growth, etc. But that said, if you're looking at investment from a longer term perspective, this is one space that will do well, to my mind, in the next year or so. Again, I think within that space, Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda in the PSU basket, if leaving aside SBI, because I don't really think we should talk of SBI, with the rest of the PSUs. But so if you were to look at the PSU list, then I think Canara Bank and Bank of Baroda are very good names. And again, valuations look very reasonable at this point in time. So if you're looking at a 2-year horizon, it's a most definite hold from my side.
Alright, then that's a take coming in as far as IDFC First Bank and some of those banking counters then are concerned. But Osho, I'll come right back to you because Satya from Hyderabad is also writing to us about Aurobindo Pharma. Now he's holding on to 25 shares. Buy price was 1,250 rupees, and he's been holding on for the last 4 months. But he wants to know if he should continue holding on then.
See, overall, this counter approximately is hovering around the same buying zone. So overall, looking at the technical parameters, it is hovering even near the short-term moving average. So I'm expecting that in the short-term period, there is a possibility for a decent pullback in this counter. On the higher end, again, the first resistance is around the zone of 1240, 1250 odd levels. But the time it breaches the zone of 1250, then we can see approximately 100 to 120 points of upward rally in this counter. So approximately 1360 to 1370 should be the target that one can expect from Oro Pharma in the short-term period.
So coming right back to you, and let's keep talking about the pharma space because the next viewer query is coming in from Mr. Subrata Mukherjee from Kolkata, and he's talking about Glaxo Pharma on the charts. He's asking if you are spotting a price target of anywhere between 2,500 and 2,700 rupees for Glaxo Pharma on the charts anytime soon. What's your outlook when it comes to GSK on the charts?
See, overall, this counter have seen a positive traction in today's trading session also only, and in the last two trading sessions, there has been some increment in the trading volume. So definitely, this counter is on a revival mode as of now, and one can expect a pullback if there will be a sustainable buying at current levels. So I'm expecting that definitely there is a possibility for a higher trend, but one should wait for another day of consecutive buying emergence in this counter. On the short-term perspective, I am expecting that 2300 is supposed to act as a first resistance for this counter. If it crosses beyond the zone of 2300, then only we can see a further continuation in this counter. But overall, 2000 to 2300 is the immediate trading range that this counter is hovering in within. So one should definitely try to approach as buy on dips and sell on the rise.
And those are the levels that you should be keeping in mind when it comes to GlaxoSmithPharma then. But Sharmila, I'll come right back to you because we do have Swati who's writing to us about Torrent Power. She wants to know, she's sitting at a loss of 15 to 20% when it comes to this particular counter, and she wants to know what she should be doing according to you.
So I think it looks reasonable from a valuation perspective, and numbers also I think have not been bad. There is a possibility that you could see the stock correct a little more, but I think if you're a longer term investor, you should stay put.
Stay put is the call coming in on Torrent Power. Osho, coming back to you once again. We have a query coming in specifically for you, and this is coming in from our viewer who's writing to us, R. Ganesh from Bengaluru, and asking if he can buy IDFC First Bank for the long term holding range of more than 5 years. Let's combine that query with another one coming in because we're trying to take a lot of queries right now. What's your view on IDFC First as well as BEL on the charts?
See, firstly, IDFC First Bank is hovering at a very crucial zone, approximately the zone of 60. We have seen a very strong breakout in the month of May 23. So it is hovering around the same level. So I'm expecting that there can be a continued consolidation around the same level. 60 to 65 can be seen as a consolidation phase for this counter. But in the coming period, there is a possibility for a very strong pullback in this counter. So for short term, medium term, and even for long term perspective, one can definitely accumulate this counter at current levels. In the near term, I am expecting a short term target of nearly 78 to 80 on the technical front. Once it breaches the zone of 80, then definitely we can see a further upside movement in this counter from a medium term perspective. And if the time horizon is 5 years, then definitely at a buy at current levels and can see a very strong movement in the years going ahead.
Alright, then that's a take coming in as far as IDFC First Bank then is concerned. Sharmila, I'll come right back to you because Achar from Madurai is writing to us about a couple of counters. So RVNL as well as Cochin Shipyard are the counters that they're keeping on their radar. And when it comes to RVNL, 750 shares at a buy price of 583 rupees, and for Cochin Shipyard, it's 59 shares and buy price is 1,750 rupees. So what do you make of both of these counters then?
Well, the counters at this price are fine, but I think the only mistake that's been made is that the investors bought them at what we were talking of a little while earlier, where you had a huge run up and fancy for stocks in railway, PSU, defense. So those were the stocks that did very well in the last rally, and as I said, I think as in the earlier case, here too, the order books look decent. It's just that because now the investor focus is not on these sectors, it will be a while before they recover to the prices that you bought. So that is the thing that you need to bear in mind. I think the second important thing that really you need to bear in mind is that, which is something that I said earlier as well, that if within two bull phases, you never really have the same sector that sort of. There's always a different sector that catches investor fancy. So that's a bit of a thing that you do need to keep at the back of your mind, that you will have to give these stocks a little time now to come back to those prices. That said, I think both the stocks, if you ask me, just looking at the valuation they are at currently and where their order books at, they would be a hold.
Okay, so that's a take on RVNL as well as Cochin Shipyard. But that was the last query that we could squeeze into this show. Thank you so much, Sharmila and Osho, for joining us today. But on that note, viewers, remember to keep writing to us on the phone number, specify your stocks, and we'll keep addressing all your queries, and we'll continue with all of them tomorrow. But on that note, we'll wrap it up on Buy Now, Sell Now. Markets at Noon is up next.